Hello, welcome to Prime Movie Recaps. Today, I'll show you a 2019 thriller, crime, movie called Happy Death Day. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. On Monday, the 18th, the film begins with the ringing of the Bayfield University bell. Teresa Tree Gelbman wakes up hungover in the dorm room of classmate Carter Davis on her birthday. She ignores her father's phone call. Tree is about to leave after asking for Tylenol when she witnesses Carter's roommate Ryan come in and question if he slept with her. Much to her disgust and Carter's embarrassment, Tree stumbles into a guy she went out with named Tim on her way to her own room. He inquires as to why Tree hasn't responded to his texts, and she responds that their one day consisted of them going to Subway, which made her miserable. Tree enters her room and sees Lori Spingler, her roommate. Tree realizes she'll be late for class and rushes to get dressed. Lori then gives Tree a cupcake that she cooked for her because of the carbs. Tree blows out the candle and throws the cupcake in the trash. Tree attends class and subsequently meets with Gregory Butler, her professor. Despite Gregory's marriage, the two are having an affair. Stephanie, his wife, has arrived at the door after Tree has kept it open. During lunch, Tree meets with her sorority sisters for a meeting about a spring dance. Danielle Bauseman, the head sister, chastises Becky for bringing junk food to eat. When Becky stands up to depart, she collides with Carter, spilling her lunch all over the Tree. Carter tries to return some valuables she left behind, and Tree draws Carter away to keep the fact that she slept in his room hidden. Tree is invited to a party in a dorm later that evening by Danielle. Tree walks alone on campus, passing a group of males dressed in the school's sports team uniforms. She hears the sound of a music box as she walks past a bridge. Tree approaches the box to pick it up and notices a person wearing a baby mask standing a few feet in front of her. The person flees after she threatens to contact the cops. Tree begins to flee, but is pursued by the masked individual. Tree is eventually apprehended and stabbed to death. At the start of the same day, Tree wakes up in Carter's room. She walks out of the room, clearly spooked out and perplexed, believing she is experiencing deja vu. She returns to her room and rejects Lori's cupcake once more, but this time instead of dumping it, she simply leaves it. Stephanie catches her after Gregory's office has been locked. Tree cautions Becky before Carter knocks into her over lunch, yet the same things happen. Tree makes her way back to the party, but this time she avoids the bridge. When she arrives at the dorm, she is greeted by a person wearing a baby mask, prompting her to scream and punch the individual in the face. It is revealed to be Nick, Danielle's boyfriend. Tree is having a surprise party. She goes out drinking and tries to have a good time. She ascends to Nick's chamber, where he messes with the mask for a while. The true killer, on the other hand, enters the room and stabs Nick to death. Tree receives a text from Danielle while she isn't looking, accusing her of hooking up with Nick behind her back and indicating that it has occurred before. Tree is assaulted by the assailant, who kills her with a shattered bong piece. Tree awakens in Carter's room once more. This time she's even more terrified. She dashes to her room and informs Lori that she's being pursued. Lori soothes her and advises her to take the day off and relax in her room. Tree secures the room with a lock and barricades to keep intruders out. Regardless, the killer breaks in later that night. Tree fights off the assailant but is stabbed to death. After going through the same things again and again, Tree describes her position to Carter, who is obviously perplexed. He advises her to narrow down her suspect list till she can figure out who the murderer is. Carter believes the killer is targeting Tree on her birthday, which means everyone at school is a suspect, since Danielle announced the surprise party. As she pursues her suspects, Tree travels through various loops. She goes after Tim first, but she finds him in his room watching homosexual porn. She suspects Stephanie after dying yet again, but she spots Stephanie moments before the killer drowns her. She suspects Danielle, but after the two get into a fight and are hit by a bus, she dies on her own. Tree suspects Gregory is the assailant after marking off their names. She seeks him out in the hospital when an X-ray reveals that she has inside damage as a result of her prior deaths. Tree discovers a baby mask in Gregory's drawer while looking through his office. The killer, on the other hand, stabs Gregory before chasing Tree into the parking lot. She gets into a car and exits. A cop pulls her over for speeding, just when she thinks she's dodged death. Tree lies and claims to be drunk and intoxicated in order to evade the killer by being locked up in a cell. The killer drives past and hits the cop as she is cuffed and placed in the back of the car. When the gas tank begins to leak, the killer uses a birthday candle to light the fuel and blow up the tree. Tree awakens in Carter's room once more. She proves she knows what's going to happen by pointing out certain common occurrences, such as a car alarm going off sprinklers being activated on studying pupils, and a group of activists standing together. While one member falls to the ground, Tree is getting weaker with each subsequent loop. So Carter brings her to a neighboring burger joint. She's starting to worry that she'll run out of lives. Tree informs Carter that she has been ignoring her father's phone calls, and that her mother died 3 years ago. They then witness a news program on television about a serial killer named Joseph Toombs, who is known for targeting young ladies. Tree believes he is the murderer, and that she is the only one who can stop him. To stop Toombs, Tree and Carter rush to the hospital, but he has already slain the security guard and fled. Tree takes up a fire axe and attempts to flee Toombs. Toombs snaps Carter's neck when Carter defends Tree. Tree incapacitates Toombs, but she recognizes that if she is successful in halting the loops, Carter will remain dead. Before Toombs can grab her, she dashes to the top of the bell tower and hangs herself, promising to find Toombs soon. With more positive energy, the Tree begins a new loop. She cordially greets Carter, warns the pupils about the sprinklers, and greets Lori as she enters her room. When Tim approaches her, she politely informs him that she understands he dislikes girls, and that he should be allowed to love whomever he desires. Tree walks into Gregory's class and stops his lecture to pull him aside and inform him she's ending their relationship and dropping his class. Tree arrives at the lunch meeting with a plate full of junk food, which she happily consumes. Despite Danielle's best efforts, Tree refuses to let Becky go, instead taking Becky's chocolate milk and pouring it over Danielle's head, humiliating her. Then Carter shows up to return Tree's jewels. Tree kisses Carter in front of the other sisters. She then invites Carter to celebrate her birthday with her later that evening. Tree has lunch with her father David. She tells him it's been difficult for her to be around him since her mother died, but she loves him and apologizes for hurting him. The two then chuckle to line the situation before sitting down to eat lunch. Tree is getting ready to pursue Toombs with a knife. She approaches the security guy and snatches his revolver before asking him to go for backup. Tree then enters Toombs' room and points rifle at him while he is pretending to sleep. She attempts to shoot him, but forgets to remove the safety. Toombs stands up and fights Tree, pushing her against the wall with a violent slam. Tree suddenly recalls that a brief blackout is scheduled, which occurs just in time for her to get out of Toombs' line of sight. She arrives behind him and removes the safety, allowing her to kill Toombs with a single shot. Tree and Carter spend the remainder of the night together, and she eats the cupcake Lori made her after making a wish and blowing it out. Tree awakens in Carter's room one more time. The ringtone for her birthday is played. Monday, the 18th, is still here. She feels perplexed and enraged, puzzled as to how she is still trapped in the loop. Lori hands her the cupcake again as she dashes to her room. Tree politely rejects, claiming that she had eaten it the night before, and then it hits her. She died in her sleep since the cupcake had been poisoned all along. She had never eaten the cupcake before, therefore she understands Lori was the murderer all along. Since she works at the hospital, Lori was able to release Toombs loose and make it look like he killed Tree because of his past. Tree discovers the baby mask in Lori's desk, emphasizing the point even further. Tree tries to force Lori to eat the cupcake and even threatens to report her to the cops if she doesn't. Lori admits that she did it all because a guy she likes was more into Tree, which Tree believes is a ridiculous reason, and Lori calls Tree a dumb bitch. Lori wants to put an end to Tree's life by fighting her. As Lori has Tree pinned to the bed, they are stopped by Danielle from outside the room, but Tree manages to take the cupcake and push it into Lori's mouth. Tree then leaps to her feet and grabs the ceiling lamp, intending to kick Lori out the window and kill her. Tree and Carter are sitting in a diner, watching the TV coverage on the incident, with Danielle conducting a publicity interview. Carter begins to compare Tree's condition to Groundhog Day, but she has never heard of the film or Bill Murray. The next day, Tree awakens to the sound of the birthday ringtone. Carter acts as if she's just gone out of bed hungover. Tree begins to panic until Carter confesses that he was only playing a joke on her, and that it is now Tuesday the 19th, when Ryan tries to come back inside before they start kissing. They laugh about it and kick him out. Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.